Hello and welcome. My name is Rob Dianovich from Education Without Borders. And if this is your first time here, I humbly welcome you. If you've been here before, that's fantastic and I appreciate you watching. In today's video, what I'm going to do is talk about a recent article and share it with you in what has come out of the Job Skills Summit. It's a continuation from one of the previous videos about post-study graduate visas. And there's some more information here that is really exciting that's going to help students for the future. So let's get started. So the article comes from the Sydney Morning Herald and it's entitled Tens of Thousands of International Graduates to Work in Australia Longer. Now, the article was written by Anthony Galloway on the 3rd of September 2022. So let's have a closer look at what it says. Foreigners wanting to study nursing, engineering, and IT will be the focus on the federal government's plan to lure more overseas students to Australia. Tens of thousands of international graduates are to be granted the right to work in Australia for longer as the government embarks on the biggest overhaul of the migration program since the end of World War II. So if you saw my video on post-study work rights, you will notice that Australia has some challenges and they're looking to expand their workforce. So there is a photo of the Home Affairs Minister, Claire O'Neill. The Home Affairs Minister, Claire O'Neill, said the country needed to better use the amazing resources of international students after announcing the nation's permanent migration intake would increase by 35,000 places this year to its highest level. The deal to lift the permanent intake to 195,000 in 2022-2023 was the centerpiece announcement of the Jobs and Skills Summit on Friday, along with a commitment to increase the number of years overseas students can work in Australia after completing their degrees. Selected bachelor's degree holders will be able to work for 4 years after graduating, up to 2 years with the government to announce in October. Selected bachelor's degree holders will be able to work for 4 years after graduating, up from 2 years with the government to announce in October which degrees will be included. The Herald Sun and Sunday Age can reveal that nursing, engineering, IT, and data degrees will be the top of the agenda to help fill the major jobs shortages in the Australian economy. So you can see there that Australia need to fill these places and there's not enough people, even though Australia is at its lowest unemployment rate in its history. All master's students will be able to work for 5 years, up from 3 years, and PhD graduates will be able to work for 6 years, up from 4 years. Just 16% of international students stay on to work after their studies in Australia, compared to 27% in Canada. O'Neill said the specific bachelor's degrees would be worked out in consultation with the higher education sector. We have this amazing resource in the country, which is international students who are studying higher degrees in Australian institutions, O'Neill said. And at the moment, they face restrictions on how much they can work after they have finished their degrees. So we are going to agree on specific bachelor's degrees that will apply to. While the decision to lift the permanent migration cap to 195,000 is a one-off, it is expected to stay in similar levels or even higher for the coming years. So that's really good news. The government wants to shift the nation's migration program to focus on permanent rather than temporary residents, and that's fantastic as well for students that are looking to come and live in Australia, and will soon appoint 3 eminent Australians to conduct a wide-scale review of the entire program. O'Neill said the nation has a big skill shortage, but the government needed to maintain the flexibility to change the intake in the coming years if the situation improved. She said the skill shortages were resulting in funerals being delayed, flights getting cancelled, all the frustration that people are having with travel, and supermarket shelves just suddenly running out of food. All these things come back to the fact that we just actually don't have enough workers in the country, she said. And so that's why the migration rates are being lifted for this year. The government will look to significantly fast-track visas for foreign graduates so they can begin work in their chosen field of study. Universities Australia Chief Executive Katrina Jackson said recent graduates were currently waiting up to 10 months to shift to the right visa. For heaven's sake, we have engineers driving Ubers, she said. It's not productive for them. It's not productive for us. Jackson said the government's move to extend the years graduates could stay on would mean more of them were hired by businesses. She said the policy needed to come with better funding for universities and a fast visa approval process. Canada, the UK, and US have rolled out the red carpet. They are doing much better than us in retaining these young people. National Tertiary Education Union National President Alison Barnes said the government needed to ensure that graduates' working rights were protected and they were working in their chosen field of study. You really don't want any unintended consequences flowing from that decision, she said. The government has also extended the pandemic era decision to remove the restrictions on international students not being able to work more than 40 hours during any fortnight. O'Neill confirmed that the restrictions would be put back in place at the end of June next year. So that means that in 2023, students may have to go back to only being able to work 20 hours a fortnight as opposed to the current situation where students can work up to 40 hours a week. So that's a big change. We've got a skill shortage, but we've got to maintain the integrity of our education system. And when people come to study in Australia, they're here for an education. And work should always be an auxiliary process, she said. O'Neill said the review into the migration system will look into better recognising prior qualifications and skills and getting more refugees into the workforce. We can do so much better with the critical decision we make about who we should invite here and getting them on a pathway to permanency and citizenship. And we're just not being strategic about that at the moment, she said. O'Neill said the government would not have the social license to lift migration without tackling foreign workers' exploitation, and it would settle on a series of reforms next year. We're not going to attract migrants from around the world if we have a systemic problem with exploitation that we don't do anything about, she said. And we're not going to get that really important shift to permanency and citizenship that we want to unless we address those issues. Opposition leader Peter Dutton on Friday criticised the Jobs Summit and said the decision to increase the migration cap should have been made 100 days ago when the government was elected. Asked for her response, O'Neill said the previous government did not do anything to fix the migration problem. It is interesting because one of our goals in the migration system is to improve our international standings as a destination for migrants, and there's probably no single person who has detracted from that other than Peter Dutton himself, she said. So he should just reflect on that. So that's having a go at the previous government and saying, hey, hands off, we've taken charge now, the Labor government, and we're going to do things to fix up this issue. So as you can see, the government is moving towards the right direction in helping international students to become permanent residents in the future based on those degrees that were just mentioned in the article. Now, apart from the degrees, I think that there'll be more changes coming for vocational programs as well. So do keep an eye out for that on these videos. If you like this video, please give us the thumbs up and please comment below if there's anything else you'd like me to cover. And I'll see you in the next video.